Hey, I'm Scott Bloyer, and I'm so excited to bring you today your wisdom moment, because if you're watching this, that means you've been reading through Proverbs for the last 20 some days, and we are continuing to do that. Pastor Larry's the odd guy. I'm the even guy, so I just wanted to make sure we knew that. And so I'm going to start with Proverbs chapter 22. Now, here's the thing. We're not going to read through the whole chapter because that's your job. You should be doing that on your own. So I'm going to pick out some verses that I felt were kind of appropriate. Like Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. Direct your children onto the right path, and when they are older, they will not leave it. Probably heard that a time or two. Maybe it was hanging up in grandma's house next to the paddle she used, just saying, right? But it was one of those things that this is the best known proverb when it comes to parenting. Now, there are tons of different verses throughout Proverbs that are about parenting and about discipline, but this one is probably the most famous. And when it talks in this verse about direct your children, actually the original language says train your children onto the right path, and when they're older they won't leave it. Now, here's the idea that when you train them up, you are going to direct them. You're gonna set aside, you're gonna narrow what happens in their life. The goal is that you narrow it down so that there's biblical wisdom and leadership, that you dedicate your life to them understanding who God is and how they're supposed to live their life as they follow Him. You are to prepare your children to live out that life, giving them options and opportunities to grow in faith. And then the last thing is you're supposed to exercise and train them for adulthood. One of the things that Michelle and I always talked about as we were raising our kids was our vision, our mission statement for our kids was that they would leave home well. Now, first part was really important, that they left home, right? Because we have a lot of young men and women that are still sitting in the basement playing Xbox, doing their thing instead of leaving home. Now, granted, there's some housing issues. I'm not going to blast people for that. But if you're still sitting at home playing the Xbox and not having a job, we didn't prepare them well to be an adult. So one of the things that we always said was we wanted our kids to leave home well. And each one of our kids left, went to college, and praise Jesus, didn't come back. So I'm just saying, this is what we're talking about, preparing them for adulthood. Chapter 22, verse 6 is going to be always a powerful verse that we can walk through. And then there is chapter 22, verse 13, where it says, the lazy person claims there's a lion outside. If I go outside, I might be killed. You know what that is? That's just someone who knows how to make an excuse not to go to work. So they're just saying, you know what? There might be a lion out in Aurora, so I don't have to go get a job. Wrong answer, Tiny Tim. Again, it's about developing them, preparing them to live life. See, this is important for us to understand as we get to verse 15, which is another verse on parenting. It says, a youngster's heart is filled with foolishness, but physical discipline will drive it far away. We all know that when people are young, sometimes they act foolish. If you're sitting there, no, I never did that, then that just means you're a good liar. The thing is we all do foolish things, but discipline will drive it far away. Now it says physical discipline. I want to understand, a lot of people will take this out of context because that will go back to, the statement that was next to grandma's paddle. It's not always about physical discipline. It's about mental discipline. It's about verbal discipline. It's about experiential discipline. See, as parents, we have different ways to parent. And so it's not always physical, hey, I'm going to whoop you. It's also, how can I train you up and prepare you for adulthood? Hey, that's your wisdom moment from Proverbs 22. Hope you enjoyed it.